Do you know still today in 2022, the International Olympic Committee's Rule 50 prohibits any form of peaceful protest like the one you see immortalized here behind me? I spoke to one of the men raising his fist in this iconic picture to learn why he decided to put it all on the line. It's one of the most iconic and powerful images in both Olympic and American history.
It threatened my life as they've threatened many of our lives.
American sprinters John Carlos and Tommie Smith standing side by side on the medal podium, heads bowed and fists raised in the air during the national anthem in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City.
The intent was for humanity.
It's a historic moment that almost never happened.
You already know, obviously, how impactful what you did was and what it meant to me and so many folks. So thank you for that.
So I appreciate that.
Sitting down with John Carlos nearly 52 years after the incredible act of bravery, I learned he and other American athletes were strongly leaning towards boycotting the 1968 Olympics.
At that particular time in the 60s, man, we had a lot of unrest going throughout the nation. I think we were tired of a lot of the same things that we're tired of today. And we started wondering, what role can we play? What can we do to bring attention to the plight of blacks and people of color here in the United States and throughout the world for that matter? Possibly we can send a message to society and let them know that although we love America, it appears that America hasn't shown the same love in return.
Yet as the athletes inched closer to the Olympic trials that year, Carlos tells me many changed their minds out of fear of losing their livelihoods. A vote was held and the majority decided against the boycott, a result that left Carlos disheartened and frustrated.
And at one point I said, well, y'all can go, I'm staying home. But the powers to be in the universe clocked in on my brain and said, Johnny, you can stay home. But the question is, when someone takes your place and they go on the victory stand, will you be represented the way you feel you need to be represented?
That question propelled Carlos to enter the Olympic trials. Carlos tells me both he and Smith qualified for the Olympic team in spite of U.S. officials doing everything possible to hinder their performance.
They came against me in terms of taking the world record away that I ran, or changing the time that I ran, and so forth like that, to try and discourage myself as well as Mr. Smith.
Weeks later, during the Olympic semifinal heats in Mexico City,
I was compelled to, go to Mr. Smith at the end of the quarter semi and said to him, I said, Tommy, man, I'm disenchanted about the fact that the boycott was called off. I want to make a statement. What's your take? And he said that he was with me on that.
In the center of the field is Tommie Smith running through.
After placing first and third in the 200-meter final, the pair began to search for symbolic items to wear during the medal ceremony. They found the now famous black gloves, but many people are unaware they didn't stop there.
The black scarf that Tommie Smith had on his neck exemplified black pride. The beads that I had on my neck exemplified the agony and tragedy of lynchings that had taken place throughout the United States history. The black jersey that I had on that covered up my USA jersey was to show my shame for America.
If you look closely, you can see the pair wore black socks with no shoes to represent black poverty.
And then, of course, the black glove was to show black unity.
Carlos says the strong and decisive action led to countless death threats, but not an ounce of regret.
Once the precedent is set, you can take my life 1,000 times, but you can never erase that precedent.
Swift and severe punishment followed that precedent. Carlos tells me U.S. officials took away his livelihood and conspired to keep him unemployed for years following this demonstration. He says it took him nearly 20 years to get back on his feet. Still, he tells me he'd make the same decision all over again.